another summer's done him good, and I just think it's a perfect race for him.
I'm looking forward to running her in a mare's race at Warwick on Thursday. He's got a great profile, second season chaser. He obviously won the Reynolds Town. I think he's a decent animal.
We know we're going there with a good horse. You know, we'd love to come out of there with a Gold Cup horse.
He follows a very similar profile to Datsar Gino, who obviously won it last year for us.
Hello and welcome back to the Only Fools of Horses YouTube channel. It's the first UK Grade 1 race of the 2023-24 jump season. Yes, the Betfair Chase kicks off this weekend. A real nice weekend of racing after a good 3 days at the Cheltenham November meeting. We're recording this on the Tuesday of the Newbury Gallop this morning. We had plenty to talk about from there. Constitution Hill was at the centre of attention. We'll get into that later on in the video as well. And also we've got Grade 1s over in Ireland to talk about, the John Durkan and the Morgiana hurdle. Plenty to talk about. Myself and Harry on this week. Harry, I suppose we'll start with Cheltenham. How was Cheltenham for you? You were working. You were quite busy, I hear, with your new best friend, Davy Ross.
No, Davy was good. Plenty of excited people that came and had their autobiographies signed by Davy himself. Really nice chap. It was very busy on our Venator stand, but it's always good to be busy on the punting side. I'm just a little bit. I'm just missing at the minute, Ash. I'll be totally honest. I'm struggling. It's one of those that when you're on the back foot, especially at Cheltenham, it's the last place you kind of want to be on the back foot, because you kind of miss silly things and you miss your winners. And I was, for example, like Datsar Enos, I still stand by it, but I just think that you look back and I just think Burdett Road, you look at the form was in the book. Datsar Enos had it all to prove kind of going into the race. But like, it's one of those, what goes around comes around. The karma will, our fingers crossed, the good karma will come back. I don't know who I've ran over, but it must be something. But look, anyway, I'll keep kicking and we'll try and find the winners. But how are you anyway?
Hey, look, I'm all right, but it's arm around the shoulder. It happens. Bad form happens. I was in horrendous form. I was in horrendous form about a month and a half ago and found something. But now I've said that, my form's going to absolutely drop off a cliff. So it happens. Yeah, stick to the system. Maybe, we all learn. As we said off camera before we started, I remember doing like A-level practice exams, and you sort of look through the examples, you look through the correct answers, and you learn from it. We all learn. So we've got Betfair Chase this weekend. I was down in the Coral Gold Cup Gallop this morning as we record on the Tuesday evening. So that was happening on the Tuesday morning. And with the absolute gratitude to the trainers I spoke to 5 separate trainers to talk about some of their runners for not only Coral Gold Cup weekend, but also this weekend. So we've got a couple of minutes from each trainer to slot into the video throughout the video, notably with Ben Pauling, Paul Nicholls, Dan Skelton, Jamie Snowden, and Olly Murphy. So thank you very much to them. And before we get into the Betfair Chase, we're going to start with the Betfair Chase. We're going to kick off with the 14-time champion jumps trainer, Paul Nicholls, who has plenty to say about Can Do Kid in the Coral Gold Cup and how his horses galloped in the morning at Newbury.
Paul, pleasure to speak to you this morning. I suppose we'll go with the gallopers this morning. We've just had Regent Stroll come in, Caldwell Potter as well. Just a sort of general sum up of the morning. Are you quite impressed with some of the horses that have been galloping today?
Yeah, I was pleased they did what we wanted. Very happy with Regent Stroll there. So we knew would need a piece of work. He's not going to be ready for 6 or 8 weeks, which is always the plan. Lovely young horse to run after Christmas. And the first 4 that worked, Can Do Kid went very nicely. He's well on schedule for the Coral Gold Cup. Inchhouse will run in the Prix de Sullivan, but he's just been catching up a little bit. He's behind, so he might need the run. And Caldwell Potter and Captain T just worked beautifully. Nice day out for them. They're both will have an entry in the John Frankham on Friday, and we'll make a plan near the time. But Captain T could wait for Sandown the following Friday.
So you're looking potentially, if you were to sort of pinpoint it in a rough scale, could be more Caldwell Potter for Newbury and then Captain Teague for another day?
I would have thought so, but I've got to discuss it with the owners, obviously, and do what's right and see what the ground does next week. So it's nice to have options, and it's nice to have some rain now so we can run them.
Can Do Kids, you say, I remember speaking to you last year, you thought that could be a proper Coral Gold Cup horse. 12 months later, we're here and he's going to be running in the race.
Yeah, well, we haven't run him since he ran very well in the Aintree. I've always thought he'd be a stayer. Another summer's done him good, and I just think it's a perfect race for him. Obviously, I didn't want to run him beforehand and be in fear of picking up a penalty anywhere. And yeah, we're looking forward to him running.
Looking at this weekend, you've got Pick Dory, the 1965 Chase. Sort of that horse that's on the cusp of Grade 1, so won a couple as well, but it's nice to see him start his season this weekend.
He seems well. He's had an away day, and he loves Ascot, loves going right-handed. This bit of ease in the ground will suit him. It was a bit quick for him last year, so looking forward to him running.
And Blue King Daru in the Ascot Hurdle as well?
Yeah, he's had an away day with him as well. He won nice, he stays well. Again, a bit of ease in the ground will suit him, so looking forward to running both of them.
First runs for both of them, what might expectations be sort of fitness-wise for them?
They're both fit enough to go very close. They're fit enough to improve. You know, we're getting into November now and we've done a lot of work with them, so I'd say they're ready to roll.
And finally, Monmoral's the one who's got the run. He's in the Stayers Handicap Hurdle?
Yeah. He's in there. I've got to decide whether I run him there at Haydock on Saturday or wait for Newbury the following weekend. He's got 12 stone in a handicap, which is quite hard. So I've got to weigh up whether we run him, you know, in a conditioned race where probably they're arguably a smaller field, or running a, you know, very valuable handicap with probably 20 runners. So I need to have a chat with the owners as well and make a plan.
And you know, all your runners started coming out. You had a treble yesterday. Yeah. Anything for people to keep a small eye on away from the main races?
I mean, the next few days we've got some nice horses to run. Nice filly to run in the bumper at Warwick called Beauty in the Park. And then, yeah, I haven't really decided what we're going to run Friday, see how much rain we get, but we'll have plenty to run on Friday at Chepstow. The Bluesman, he's a nice horse, and hopefully run a nice bumper horse in either possibly a horse called what's he called, Sinatra. He could run it Chepstow if he did. He's quite a nice horse, but they're just beginning to get ready to roll now.
Thank you very much, Paul, for that. Very kind for him to give up his time to speak to me. A lonely Ash Simmons at a Newbury Racecourse on Tuesday morning. We're going to kick on to we're going to put 4 races under the microscope, but we're going to do it slightly differently in how we do it. But we're starting with the Betfair Chase. This will be sort of as usual, really. The betting's rolling on screen there. Grey Dawning 15-8, Hoy Senor and Royal Pagaille 5-1, Capodanno supplementation 8-1, Brave Man's Game 10's the same as Hewick, Real Wacker 14's bigger the rest. Harry, what do you think of the Betfair Chase? How do you sort of assess it from this standpoint?
Yeah, I think it's a really good race. I think the big guns will turn up. The one I probably won't, I don't think will turn up, and we've heard a lot about him recently, is Brave Man's Game, because obviously you're looking at the ground. Half the country was covered in snow, you know. This morning there's more rain to come, so he's very much good ground, and he hasn't really delivered. He's just not the same horse. I think that we're talking about a national entry. Fair play, you know. You've got to be in it to win it, I suppose. But the one that I've landed on, I think Grey Dawn is a bit too short. I think Royal Pagaille is just being overlooked again. I think, look, he was 5-1. He won this race last year by 6 lengths when he beat Brave Man's Game. Corrit Rambler was in third. Protectorate, he was obviously beaten pretty quickly, but take nothing away from Royal Pagaille because he was very, very impressive, and he travelled like the best horse in the race. And as soon as he jumped second last, I thought he was just really impressive the way that he won going away. Look, he's a good jumper on the whole. Yes, he is 10, but I mean, he's still very fresh. You know, he only had one more run after that where he obviously fell. So he comes into this pretty fresh. Venetia's record in the last couple of weeks haven't been too good, but you look at the horses that she sent out. I mean, the only one that was sent off favourite was Yellow, and he only went down 3/4 of a length. And we'll obviously know more about the level of form because I think Yellow's going for the Chase at Ascot behind Pick Dory.
1965 Chase.
Yeah, so I think, look, the horses that are running, I think aren't running too badly, and I just think that with this soft ground that's coming, I think 5-1 about this horse is a decent enough bet. Look, Grey Dawn, and he's going to have a career best. I know you agree with me on that. He could be the potential, but at this point, and especially the way that my punting is going, I'd rather stick with the shown and proven ones than maybe the upcoming potential. But I'd be happy to be proven wrong. I wouldn't mind seeing a superstar in Grey Dawn and establish himself, but he's got a lot to prove, in my opinion, and I'd rather be siding with Royal Pagaille, especially at 5-1.
Yeah, like I'll go with a couple of points sort of mentioned there. Ground wise, we were sort of talking about off camera. Rain potentially Thursday, potentially a little bit Friday. It's going to absolutely hammer it down on Saturday by all intents and purposes. So look, it's good to soft in places at Haydock. It tends to ride a bit slower. 3 mile 1.5 a furlong is the Betfair Chase trip. I just say it could be soft ground, which will suit Grey Dawning in fact that he probably will prefer that softer ground. But like on RPRs and I suppose on form, he's going to have to improve. I think £8 to win this Betfair Chase on sort of like known form. It just like and they made a like Dan Skelton made a big thing about the fact he wants to get a run into this horse, and he's done a lot of work with this horse, but there's nothing quite like a run, much like the case of Ginny's Destiny, I suppose, in the Paddy Power. There's nothing quite like a run. You can prepare them, but that run really does bring them on. Brave Man's Game, they're planning to run him in this weekend. They might even get Freddie Gingle on board because Harry Gordon might be at Ascot. But Paul Nicholls did say that potentially if it turns into a bog, they might not run. National entry. He is going to give him a national entry. Look, we'll see how it goes. I suppose trying something new, see if the horse can get a bit more improvement. Also, again, that's in the back of my mind. Like if he's maybe not the same horse as he was, he might just be dropping through the handicap up until Aintree kind of thing. That's always in the back of my mind. He's off 165. You could very much see a future where he rocks up to a national for 158 maybe and goes in sort of off a top enough weight. Raw up a guy for me. I just thought like he won this race first time out last season. He loves a bit of a bog. He loves Haydock. He won the Peter Marsh handicap chase a couple of times now too. He beat a well handicapped Sam Brown one year when Sam Brown was racing off 147. He was running well in Charlie Hall's. He ran well in the most recent Charlie Hall. He's probably a mid 155 horse, and so he did that quite nicely that day. He also beat Fortescue, went on and won some nice races subsequently after that in this sort of like quotas of his Peter Marsh form. But last year's form, like beating Brave Man's Game, he did a lot right, and I was interested to see like how ready he would be compared to sort of previous form. Like he won first time out last season. He won off a 200-day break before over fences as well, so he definitely does go well fresh. And I actually read a Racing Post article which I've just got on screen now. All the geese are swans at the moment, but our first serious work was October 12th, and I liked what I saw. So if they've been doing serious work with horses since October 12th, you can hopefully say that Royal Guy's been doing plenty of work at home now. Now, I know that's the same case for Grey Dawning, but Grey Dawning did improve for his first run when behind Stay Away Faye at Exeter last season, and he was beaten on novice hurdle debut. So I think that if there's proven stuff that Royal Guy goes well fresh, I'll back him. I could rule out Plenty Through Ground, Hewick, the Real Whacker. As much as I love him, I'd say he's maybe the each way play in this race, because as much as he probably does prefer better ground, he has gone on soft ground before and he's in form. So he'd probably be each way play in this Royal Guy, the Real Whacker. But like Limerick race might not go. There's others in there that maybe aren't good enough. So all things considered, Royal Guy is my best play in the race, but the Real Whacker just as an each way play. Of course, I was going to mention him. We'll move on to the Grade 2 Ascot Hurdle, but before we do that, I'm going to slot in another video. This one's going to be with Olly Murphy because he's got Thunder Rock in the race. Again, speaking about potential Coral Gold Cup weekend runners and upcoming runners this week.
Murphy down here at the Coral Gold Cup Gallops morning. Look at this weekend's runners. So you've got Castle Ives, Wade Out, and Thunder Rock all entered. Start Castle Ives going to Warwick on Thursday?
Yeah, no, he's in good form. Looking forward to getting him started. He's going to come forward from whatever he does. The plan is to go to Cheltenham with him on the 13th of December. So, listen, if he wins, great. If he doesn't, he'll have a good blow and he'll be kind of spot on for a novice hurdle at Cheltenham on the 13th. Thunder Rock goes to Ascot on Saturday. He's in great form. Really looking forward to coming back over hurdles with him, back to 2.5 miles. And he's in great form. And if he reproduces some of his chase form, he'll certainly have a chance in what looks a competitive race. And Wade Out will either go to Ascot Friday or Haydock Saturday. So a good winner first time out. His form's worked out good, and we're looking forward to stepping up in grade.
What's the reason for Thunder Rock coming back over hurdles?
He's not the most robust horse of all time, and listen, we might jump a fence again at some point, but there's good prize money to be won. Kind of those 2.5 mile graded hurdles, and I'm looking forward to kind of giving him a run back over hurdles, see if he takes to it again, and if he does, it may well be the route to go down with him.
The Wade Out, big, nice winner last time out. You say he was sort of like a horse to watch this season. He must be impressing you with what he's showing.
Yeah, no, nice horse, won his bumper and won his maiden hurdle well. Obviously, we're going to step him up in grade now. He is going to want 2.5 miles in time, but looking forward to getting going with him. He's in good form, and obviously we'll see kind of what we've got now either on Friday or Saturday up in grade.
And finally, is there anything in the week that might be worth keeping an eye on?
Plenty of runners this week. I think Little Miss Dante, I'm looking forward to running her in a mare's race at Warwick on Thursday. Booster Bob, Barlavento will run Wednesday at Warwick as well. Some nice runners at Ascot Friday too. So some busy week. It's obviously busy time of year now. So the snow or the rain is falling, so we're going to get some soft ground, and I think you'll see a lot of national hunt trainers very busy.
Now on to the Grade 2 Ascot Hurdle, and again, like a very interesting race because Golden Ace won at the Cheltenham Festival, winning the mare's novice 5-2. Blue King Daru 4s. Django Bay, having said they were going novice chasing, he's there at 5s. Salva, who actually galloped this morning at Newbury, 13-2, same price as Thunder Rock. Colonel, Mustard, and Lucky Place, and Take No Chances, 14-1. Ascot Hurdle, Harry, you looking towards the top of the market here?
Yeah, I think Golden Ace is actually I think it's a really good bet here. I mean, I was expecting her much bigger than 9-4, and I think that she will go off a lot shorter than this, purely because I just think that we'll go back to Dysart Enos, for example. Now, there was 9 lengths behind. She was 9 lengths behind Dysart Enos over on the flat in the Aintree bumper. Now, she's unbeaten over hurdles. She jumps so fluently and she jumps so efficiently. She gains lengths at her hurdles, and she has the scalp of the likes of Bright Days Ahead. Now, people can say what they want, but Bright Days Ahead has been beaten because Golden Ace was a better filly on the day. Now, that is my genuine opinion. Like plenty of others, we were all waiting on Brighter Days Ahead for a good day and a good payout, but at the end of the day, it wasn't to be. Now, I was reading a Racing Post column that Jeremy Scott was saying that she'd be ready. She was just waiting for soft ground. Well, it looks like she's going to get soft ground, and she was ready for at the end of October. Obviously, we're now edging towards the end of November. So I think for horses that probably being let down and then work back up, it's obviously a trick. But when you've got a month in between, it's a little bit easier to do. Now, I'd be thinking that she'd be miles clear better than these. I think Blue Kindaroo, I think, looks a stayer in the making, especially after being was beaten in that grade 2, the select one, in Perry Pass one. I thought it shaped like a real stayer. And like Django Bay, obviously he obviously finished length. I think he's got to step up, to be fair, Django Bay. Now, I know he's officially a grade 1 winner, but since then I thought he was a little bit disappointing in Sydney Banks at Huntingdon. He got beaten at Kelso when he probably should have won, and Salva's obviously coming from Triumph Juvenile Company into the big division. Now, I think it's a golden opportunity for Golden Ace. I think she's a class act, and she might be a bit short for the Mayor's Hurdle, but I think she's a little bit too big for this race on Saturday.
Golden opportunity for Golden Ace. I like what you did there. And worrying. You're just that good. You're natural. You're a natural.
No, I really did. It's actually, when you were saying it, without saying it back, I was thinking, "Oh, Harry, you've done something there. You've done something."
You're just too good, clearly. Yeah, look, I read the race quite similar, actually. I thought Blue Kindaroo would maybe need the run. Shapes a bit of a stayer as well. Looks like Stayer's Hurdle could be for him. I don't think Golden Ace is miles clear of these, but at the same time, like Django Bay, I thought would potentially go over fences. The same goes for Lucky Places in there. I was both hoping they go over fences. I think actually Lucky Places entered for the Friday over fences. Could be wrong there. Salva, step up from Juvenile Company. Yes, he'll probably get his ground. He's going to lash it down at Ascot on Saturday. And he's been for a race course gallop, been for an away day, so they're probably prepping him quite nicely for this race. I'd see him as a big danger. I really would. But I thought Golden Ace, I thought what she did at the April meeting was really impressive, actually. I thought she picked up the bridle really nicely when she had quite a lot of trouble. And I thought she won really impressively in March when beating Bryce Days Ahead. Like, she did that nicely. I know she was getting £5 from Bryce Days Ahead and the JP horse, the name escapes me now. But yeah, I thought
these are giving her more weight than what Bright Days Ahead was giving. And do you know what? And this is a question for everyone in the comments. So please do let us know. But what price would you make? And I'll ask you, Ash, as well. What price would you make Bright Days Ahead if she was making her comeback run against these, getting the weight that the weight that Golden Ace is obviously getting?
She'd be odds on. She'd be odds on.
This is what I'm saying. I just think, and that's exactly what I was saying. I just can't get my head around.
It's the age-old debate of if this horse was with better connections, kind of thing. But yeah, I'd agree with you. I think Golden Ace is probably the best bet in this, and 5-2 is a nice price. So I'd agree with you. Scary when we agree, really is. But I'd go with her in the Ascot Hurdle. We're not going to do the 1965 Chase because who's at the top of the market? Pick Dory, but we both kind of agree that Pick Dory is probably the best horse in there. We're going to switch over to the Irish stuff, but before we do that, we're going to slot in another trainer into. I'm going to let Future Ash decide which trainer we're going to go in here. So Future Ash, who's next on screen?
Dan, pleasure to speak to you on the back of Cheltenham on the weekend. You had a great weekend. Just sort of a little sum up on that.
Oh, it's brilliant. 4 winners. It was great. Yeah, learned a bit more about the novices. Obviously, Lotus Hood was very impressive. I was delighted with Be Aware how well he ran. Obviously, in the Greatwood after such little experience, really. This time last year, he hadn't even ran. And then the bumper horse was a bit cheeky. That was great to watch.
Look at this weekend. Grey Dawn's off your big one. I know you've sort of spoken about how you would have loved to get a run into him, but it'd still be good to see him there. And he's favourite for the Betfair Chase, so he obviously holds a big chance.
He does. I've done loads with him at home. He's been away for a racecourse gallop. He's had a few days on our grass as well. So we're not underprepared by any stretch. The rain and the weather is now coming in his favour, which is great. We're really looking forward to taking on the older horses. How he fits in against them, we'll find out on Saturday. We're not nervous or apprehensive about it. We know we're going there with a good horse. We'd love to come out of there with a Gold Cup horse.
One of your winners at Cheltenham on the weekend was Doyen Quest. I guess he runs under a penalty, does he, in the state handicap hurdle?
He does. He gets a £5 penalty. I've been very happy with him since. I know it's only a few days, so I don't have any negatives anyway. We'll get out there and give it a go. Sometimes it works and it's obvious, and obviously sometimes it doesn't, but let's hope we're favouring the first.
He's just a big improver, isn't he? He's a real nice horse.
And up in trip. Yeah, massive improver.
Amazing. As for your other runs this week, anything interesting to keep the viewers on side with?
Yeah, we've got a runner in the first up there called Country Mile. I think he's got a big chance. We might run Deafening Silence in the Graduation Chase. That looks like it's set to be a really good race. And then there's a couple of other handicaps where we're definitely going to have runners. Lamilos will run the last race today. I think he's tightened up a good deal for his first run.
He ran a nice race at Cheltenham, I thought. He travelled nicely down the hill.
He did. He just blew up massively. I thought he was a lot fitter than he was that day.
Coral Gold Cup weekend. What might your runners look like for the Coral Gold Cup?
Listen to Your Heart in the mares listed, hurdle, possibly Katira Langadan in the long distance, dependent upon ground. I think Helton will take his chance in the big one. Never stayed the trip, never asked him to stay the trip. And a whole host of others, really. Chances all over, hopefully.
Final question, very cheeky of me, but do tell me to go away if needed. Anything interesting this weekend or this week, should I say, away from the main meetings? Anything that sort of maybe is catching your eye that could be interesting to keep an eye on?
Let's have a think now. Royal Infantry could run in the introductory hurdle on Friday at Ascot.
Nice horse, isn't he?
He's a good horse.
Yes, we'll now move on to the Irish stuff, and we're going to sort of talk about the Morgiana because State Man's making his reappearance. It deserves a mention. He's 5-2 on, Lossy Mouth sends 2, Ballyburn 5s, Bryce Days Head 10s, Daddy Longlegs the same price, and Bigger the rest. So we both think that State Man wins, or it's just not really a betting race as such. It's also so many complexities and unknowns, and the fact if Ballyburn's going to go here, whatever. But more on the champion hurdle division in general, because there has been plenty of talk and plenty of betting movements. Conhill is now 4-1, I think, for the champion hurdle after today's gallop at Newbury. Keep it short and sweet, I suppose. But what's your opinions on the sort of champion hurdle division and what we saw from Conhill mainly today as we speak?
Yeah, well, on the Morgiana, I think obviously Lossy Mouth, we mentioned, is probably going to go to the Hatton's Grace.
Maybe,
but I think this has probably been more of a race for Paul Town, and see where they're both at. State Man might give a touch wood. He obviously runs well, because we'd all love to see that clash in March, but it'd be more for him to see if he's a little bit off the boil. Then maybe that's made his decision already. Now we already know we don't know who he's going to pick in the champion hurdle. Or whatever happens. But going to Constitution Hill, look, I think it was an overreaction. You were obviously there. You can probably say about the stature of Constitution Hill and how he looked. But me personally, I just thought that it was good to see him back. And for what he went through at Kempton, I thought that if he was to try and live up with, if I'm right in saying he was working with Segino at Kempton. Now I could be wrong, and that is
he might be right actually. I think Quick Draw might have been the other horse as well.
Yeah, I think he was, and obviously he was. Nico, I was listening to the interview, and he said, Nico, I could have pulled him up like going down the back straight, and he was. He probably should have pulled him up. So I thought it was good to see him back. You'd obviously expect Segino to be a little bit fitter, just from what Constitution Hill has always been like. The one thing I wouldn't cut on to is the fact that Constitution Hill isn't the greatest workhorse, because listening to interviews before his Supreme, now he was always talked about that John Bond and Constitution Hill were working together, and this horse was just a freak of nature at home. I wouldn't be so sure of why that's changed. That's the only thing that I have in the back of my mind. Now, that being said, if he's not up to the boil, he won't run, because he won't want to lose his unbeaten streak, and he won't want to go down. And that is just the way that Nicky Henderson will do it. He'll try and get him back, but if he can't, he won't. I think me personally, now on the 19th of November, I think he will win the champion hurdle. I have backed him at, I got 5-2 after the overreaction. So for you to say 4-1, it's a little bit sick, but I just think that he's we're looking at a champ. We're looking at a champion, and I really hope he's back. But those are the comments. I wouldn't be hanging my last thread on.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
I suppose the Constitution Hill, and I will keep this short, but from the gallop, like Nico was holding a double hander 4 and 3 furlongs out. He pulled him out towards the inside rail and took a big blow, and was being nudged along to keep up with Sergino, who was having a leisurely time fairly in front. I think that's the best way to assess it. Was Sergino a better galloper on the day than Constitution Hill? Yes. Was Constitution Hill's gallop what we expected? No. Was it? Would Nicky Henderson deep down have been happy with Constitution Hill's gallop? I'd say probably less happy than happy. At the same time, like the judgments do have to be reserved for Newcastle if he runs, and he should be running. Looks like they're going to be schooling him on Friday and galloping him on Sunday. What I thought was very interesting is they haven't popped him over a hurdle yet this year. As in, since he's come back, hasn't been popped over a hurdle. His first pop over a hurdle will be on Friday, which I thought was very interesting. Look, he has a lot to prove in the fact of if he's back. I think he does, because it's not a guarantee that he is at all, because it's a lot of updates, a lot of conversation, a lot of, is he back? Isn't he back? I think he just has to prove it on the track. I think that's where we are now.
Would you take 4-1 then? Would you like?
It's not my kind of bet. I'd like to know that the horse is sound and the horse is all good, because if you want to have an opinion now, like, fair play, because if then he goes and dices up in a fighting fifth, he goes 13-8, near verging on odds on, maybe just a touch odds against the champion.
It'd be odds if he wins as he did the other year. That's
just a fact. So like, if you're willing to part ways with money, that's great. So it's just like, I think the main takeaway is the fact that it wasn't a great gallop. It was fine. Like, it was fine because ultimately it's going to bring him on, but he's less than 2 weeks away from what's going to be his target. He's going to be fit enough. He'll probably come on for the run at Newcastle. And I thought his girth was low enough, but I've looked at previous photos of him. I think he does ride. I think he is quite a sort of stocky enough horse around the sort of front area of his chest. And you'd want him to be fit enough, wouldn't you, now for the fighting fifth? And on the evidence, it was interesting. But look, State Man wins, and I'm just interested to see how Constitution Hill goes in the fighting fifth. That's the Constitution Hill stuff done. But to all intents and purposes, the horse is fine. Don't know where the speculation comes from.
He's alive.
Yeah, but the whole Nicky Henderson's retiring on the spot. I heard absolutely no peep of that, but maybe look, I was in the wrong place, wrong time. But I had absolutely no peep, and when I asked him, "Is it all okay?" Yeah, 100%. We're going to do this on Friday. We're going to do this on Sunday. So yeah, that's the current situation.
It was better than Kempton. That's all we can say.
Better than Kempton. It's not quick draw. Penultimate trainer interview going in now. So we'll slot that video in with the insert name trainer now.
Thank you. We'll start with horses you just ran recently. I suppose You Wear It Well and Garlaw, huge race in the Paddy Power. A little bit of an update on those two?
Yeah, Garlaw ran an absolute belter to finish second in the Paddy Power off a career high mark, 155. The handicappers nudged him up another pound this morning, which was a bit of a shame. But he ran a belter. Obviously, it's a sort of lonely place to finish second, but very, very proud of the horse, very proud of Gavin and the whole team at home. It's a cracking effort.
And You Wear It Well, obviously it looked like she was going to win for quite a while and then just nabbed late on. What was the sort of, prognosis on her run?
Yeah, I think if he ran that race 10 times, we probably would have won it 9.5 times. Unfortunately, the half time that we wouldn't have won it was actually the actual race. But I'm sure if we had our time again, we probably would have gone and won it. But I was really pleased with how she attacked her fences. She was very, very good over her fences and bit fresh and free early on, but probably the exertions told just inside the final 50 yards. But it was a cracking effort. She's certainly going to make a nice chaser, and looking forward to the season ahead.
Where might you go next with her?
I would have thought we'd probably go for a beginner's chase at Haydock just before Christmas. I would have thought, but she's before we then go up in class, all being well on the back of that.
We're obviously here for Coral Gold Cup's gallop this morning, and the big one you're going to have is Colonel Harry, second last time out. Is nice preparation race in the
he follows a very similar profile to That's Right Gino, who obviously won it last year for us for the same connections, the Glyn Davises, and Yeah, he was Grade 1 placed as a novice hurdler, Grade 2 winner as a novice chaser, and unexposed over staying trips. So hopefully there's mileage off his handicap mark.
You sort of compared the two last year, saying very similar types. Can you see those similarities between the two horses?
Yeah, I think their sort of careers have followed very, very similar paths, and they are very similar kind of types in the way they race. But as their sort of physical makeup, That's Right Gino was a far sort of stockier, burlier individual that took a lot more graft. Hence the reason why we brought him here on the back of his prep run for a gallop before the Coral Gold Cup. Colonel Harry, slighter individual, more athletic, taller, just a little bit, as I say, a lighter kind of framed horse. So very keen to do all of his work out how we do it at home. Didn't think that a gallop here at Newbury would benefit him.
Looking at this weekend, Haydock and Ascot, are you likely to have many interesting runners going forward?
Yeah, we've got a few entries. Haydock and Huntington, a nice youngster, 3-year-old juvenile hurdler in at Exeter on Friday and Sunday called Mache Dalagray. It's by Seahenge, like the softer ground, so this rain's very well.
Well, final race we're going to put under the microscope is the Grade 1 John Durkan, because very interesting race. In fact, Afar reappearing 2-1, Fast or Slow 11-4, Gallop and Champs 7-2, same price for 8-1 Spillans Tower, Gronslow West 16s. I know we're thinking 20s. Harry, any opinion on the race?
Factor Farn, I think if he rocks up here, I think he'll win. I thought he was a class act all of last year. He didn't put a foot wrong. He was so good at Cheltenham, and he got a ballsy ride. He got a ballsy ride from Mark Walsh. I thought it was one of the rides of the week, and I thought the horse was mega impressive. He could be the one to take down Galopan. I think Galopan has the beating of Fast or Slow at Cheltenham. Now that is the way I'd go about it. I think that those two meeting at Punchestown suits Fast or Slow. And I'd rather be back in Fast or Slow than Galopan there. Whereas Cheltenham is completely different. Now, with Factor File in the occasion now, he is proven at Cheltenham. He's won, obviously, he won the Browns in a canter pretty much. He was delivered at the final fence and he scooted away from some decent horses who all ran pretty well, bar Stay Away Faye. Who was probably the only one to be disappointed. I thought all the others ran career bests. And that's the way I'll be signed. I think Factival is the new one, and I think he'll knock Galopan off the park, because I think he's a better horse on both tracks. And that is where
better horse than a 2-time Gold Cup winner. Worth.
That sounds a little bit shitty for me to say, but that is the way that I think that this season will go. Is we'll see Factor File establish himself as the best staying chaser.
Okay, like it. I don't agree with you, but I like the boldness. I think Fast or Slow will win this weekend. It's going to be a huge effort from Gallop and Champs to win 2 mile for first time out. He's a great horse, really great horse, but I think it's going to take a huge effort. He's also just a small thing in the back of my mind is that he is, he's getting races under the belt now. He's clocking up the miles. He's going to be targeted towards Cheltenham. That's going to be his big day. Are they going to sort of have him cherry ripe 110% first time out? Don't know. Fast or Slow, I think, can handle it. He's got probably less miles on the clock in big races. I still wouldn't be surprised if he rocked up in a King George. I know they didn't enter him, but the comments after the not entering him and saying we might supplement, I think he might rock up to the King George.
If he wins this, he'll go.
Yeah, that's a fair assessment, and I think he probably might win this on the weekend. So yeah, Fast or Slow for me. Factor File does need to prove it in my eyes. I think he's nice, but I was happy to take him on the Brown Advisory, and the form you just maybe put a small question mark over. Monty Starr, love him, but was beaten by Spillans Tower. Giovinco, who's no longer with us, was beaten. When he fell at Aintree, he wasn't going to win his race. And yeah, Stay Away Faye is Stay Away Faye. He's not probably going to be winning a Gold Cup at the same time. So yeah, I thought Fast or Slow was one for me in the John Durkan. Final trainer interview, and I said I was going to pop this in for Ben Pauling. This is going to be Ben Pauling's moment to shine, because he has one that he's going to be running hopefully on the weekend after an impressive piece of work at Newbury this morning. So insert Ben Pauling clip now.
Just a quick line on your work this morning. I know Shaking Up Harry was maybe a bit disappointing, but of the rest, the Jukebox Man and Fine Casting, very impressive.
Yeah, no, very pleased with them all. Look, Harry does that. He can throw in a howler of a piece of work. It doesn't matter. You draw a line through it. We go home, make sure he's A-OK, take a few bloods and stuff. But he sometimes comes alive for a bit of work like that, so we don't need to worry about him. Henry's friend couldn't have been better. Beautiful prep run here, the last meeting, and that was a nice little away day for him. Delighted with him. Jukebox Man worked fabulously. He'll have come on for that as well, but he did actually work very well. And Fine Casting, who might run this weekend, did a nice piece as well.
Started Fine Casting, he worked quite nicely. He's worked the house down really, and like you said, you could run this weekend in the handicap hurdle.
Yeah, especially if we get some rain. He loves a bit of soft ground, but he's in good order. I was pleased with what I saw this morning.
And then Henry's friend, look, a winner at Newbury, 139, dropped a little bit after last season in the handicap, but looks like all roads to the Coral Gold Cup after a warm-up around here over hurdles.
Yeah, very much so. He's tailor-made for the job. He's got a great profile, second season chaser. He obviously won the Reynoldstown. I think he's a decent animal, and I think he's got room for improvement within his mark. So I'm looking forward to seeing how we get on.
And the Jukebox Man, future lays ahead of him, but it looks like John Frankham is his first.
Yeah, it's a big ask first time out, but he's in good form. And if he's well between now and then, we'll probably let him roll in the John Frankham and see how we get on.
More on this weekend. You've got like Twig and the others entered. What sort of maybe at the top of your list that you're looking forward to?
We haven't got many entries this weekend, but Twig's in good order. You go for the
Stayers
handicap, and then we probably might. I've entered Slipway, much to his owner's concern. Straight away after Cheltenham, he barely blew a candle out after the cross country race. He was running brilliantly when he just got not wide at the entry canal turn fence, middle of the course, and he's in the race at Ascot, the 0 to 150 over 3.5. We'll see how we go.
The last time we had you on the podcast, you gave our viewers a nice little touch, so everyone was very thankful for that. Is there anything this week that maybe, no pressure at all, absolutely no pressure at all, but is there anything this week that might be a bit interesting, could potentially pay for a cup of tea or two?
Hornica in the Bears bumper at Warwick goes very well.
She's a nice horse, isn't she?
She's lovely, yeah.
Amazing, thank you, Ben.
Right.
Thank you very much to all the trainers. Really appreciate all their time. Harry, goes to you now on the anything else train. What about the rest of the weekend? Anything you want to highlight in a nice snappy way for the viewers?
Yeah, look, Golden Ace is a good bet, I think, around 9 to 4, 2 to 1, whatever price. I think anything north of 15 to 8, I think is a great price. She won't be that on the day. That's my opinion. But my nap of the entire week, I think, has to be Trelawn in the graduation chase. Now, Kim Bailey's in red hot form. Obviously, Tom Bellamy's now effectively, without naming it, he is the stable jockey. He's been riding all the big guns now. And this horse, bar a fall at Cheltenham, where he obviously came down at the second, it wasn't the worst fall in the world. It was very wet. The horse came down. I remember speaking to Harry Cobden on the way back in, and he was basically saying, I said, "Are you all right, Harry?" And he said, "Yeah, it's the nicest fall I've ever had because the horse landed softly." And obviously,
I will say that the horse did take. It took some time after the fall. Trelawn. Are we on about Trelawn here? Yeah, we're on about Trelawn, and he took some time after the fall, I'd say. So like,
yeah, but he was fine. He was fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they came back and they did the right thing of giving him the rest of the season off and coming back. Now, going back to, he was supposed to be going to the Colin Parker at Carlisle, but they were waiting for soft ground. He obviously won at that meeting last year. He won on Chase debut, beat Bluefin. He jumped really, really nicely. He established himself as a proper horse. He went to Cheltenham. He finished behind Grey Dawn in Angeni's Destiny. And then to Wetherby in that Grade 2 in January. I can't think of the name. I can't think of the name for the life of me. I think it's the Towton. Towton. However you say it. But he would have. I think he would have won that race, beating Hot Pot Colonel Harry, if he didn't hand so badly left, and it was weird because he was going around the bend, and he was losing. He must have lost 20 lengths, and it just did not look comfortable to ride it, and he still only went down length and jumping the last. I thought that you've still got a chance here. So he's I think he could be a real proper horse this year. Obviously, you mentioned you would have backed him for the Coral Gold Cup if he'd have had that prep run at Carlisle. But look, he's got his ground on Saturday. I think he's got to take on Oroko, who I just think at the odds is worth taking on. And I think that Trelawn. I mean, I've mentioned about my form being pretty poor in recent times, but I'm hoping that he can get us a score, because I just think everything's in his favour. Galloping track, left-handed, get him out in front, Tom, and just let him fire away, because I think he'd love it.
Unfortunately for you and for backers of Trelawn and connections of Trelawn and the owners and Kim Bailey and Matt Nicholls, they're going to have the double penalty of both me and Harry on the horse, because I'd fancy him to win. I'd fancy him to win that Graduation Chase. Yeah, look, Kim Bailey did a good amount of convincing to me before the Ultima that Trelawn was potentially the best chance in the race. And they won it with Chianti Classico, who then went on to Grade 1 Company and ran a fair race and has since bolted up in an Ascot handicap chase and could be a Grand National horse. He did a fair way of convincing me that Trelawn's got the same ability, but hasn't shown. He's got the similar rating, same ability, hasn't shown as much. So, yeah, I think Trelawn might win that Graduation Chase. And they've been absolutely dying to run him. He would have been my Coral Gold Cup horse if they ran him and got a prep run. But if he was good enough to win a Coral Gold Cup in my eyes, he's good enough to win a Graduation Chase. I know it's against Oroko, but yeah, I think he might win that. Fine casting, 25-1 in the 115 at Haydock, 2 mile free handicap hurdle. Really nice piece of work at Newbury. I know it's his first run of the season, but really nice piece of work. He goes well at Haydock as well. Like, he won in December 2020. I want to get this right now. He won December 2022, winning by 11 lengths in, I think it might even be this race. It might potentially, that is December. No, so it's different 2 mile free handicap hurdle at Haydock. He won off a mark of 123. That was on heavy ground, won by 11 lengths, gets in the offer 119. It's probably going to be soft ground at Haydock. I think he'll go quite well. He ran well on seasonal reappearance at Foss last season on his first start over fences. That was quite a nice run. He also ran well on seasonal reappearance last year in a Cheltenham handicap hurdle and finishing second. I think he could go well first time out, and he showed enough in that piece of work to suggest he's firing on all cylinders. So he'd be a good chance in that. And just over at Ascot, I think it's the Jim hang on, I want to get this. No, sorry, the Hurst Park handicap chase. There's 2 that I want to highlight. Sombrew ran in the Holden Gold Cup last time out. He ran a fair race, but behind JPR1. I think he'll come on for it. 15-day turnaround, 139, softer ground as well. If he runs well, but a bigger price and a very interesting entry for Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm is Marvel de Cerisi, 8-1. Used to be with Henry de Bromhead going back to 2023. I backed this horse for the plate, and he was really well back before the off. I remember that finished 9th. Then was sent into Grade 1 Company and absolutely hammered by John Bonner at Aintree. But he had pretty decent form before that, like in one of his beginners chases behind Impervious at Wexford, was running well, but then fell over 2 miles. That Impervious one obviously looks quite good because Impervious went on to win the Mayor's Chase. So went over to France, ran some nice races, won a couple of times, and then obviously is now still in France, but changed trainer to Noel George and Amanda Zetterholm. Won twice since, once over hurdles, once in a handicap chase. Both of them impressive. Gets in here off a mark of 136. James Reevely is booked to come over. I think it's a bit of a plot. So Marvel de Cerisi and Sombrew in the, what race time is it at Ascot? The 320. That's all I have time for, and that's what we all have time for this week's video. I hope you enjoyed this different style of sort of going through races a bit differently and having the trainers talk about their runners. Really, again, appreciate their time for sort of giving us a bit of words on their horses. Harry, be back Saturday morning, won't we, for Saturday Live?
Absolutely.
Lovely. Bang on, 10:30 a.m. Was expecting
it should be a great. I think it's a great weekend. You know, I always love Betfair Chase weekend. It's not just Haydock and Ascot. Obviously, you've got Punchestown on Saturday and Sunday, so it's a proper weekend, and then we roll forward onto it's nearly the December meeting, because I can't wait for the Cheltenham December meeting. That is one of my favourite weekends of the year.
Yeah, it's Coral Gold Cup after that, and then something else, and then December meeting. Absolutely love it. Back to Cheltenham. If you're having to play, bosh. If you're having any to play on our fancies, any fancies, please do it responsibly. Best of luck for this weekend. Best of luck for this week. Hope you find some winners. Hope the trainers who gave some horses for midweek races have found some winners as well. Best of luck, and we'll see you very, very soon.